very good evening. Welcome to The Blueprint, where we have conversations that shape the future. What an absolutely amazing month it has been. Women's Month all throughout the month of March, highlighting not just women within their industries, their strengths, their professions, and just ensuring that the conversations about women across board are being had. Conversations about empowerment, conversations about ensuring that we are constantly creating a level playing field for women across board, because, you know, as we know, the wealth of talent that women possess within different walks of life, and we've seen women prove themselves over and over and over again. So we're not even talking about tokenism. We're talking about women who indeed possess the right skills across board, and just creating platforms to ensure that they are just contributing to society. My name is Ifunanya. It is The Blueprint. I'm super excited about today's edition because we have someone special in the studio. So our topic today, to wrap up, and I believe that this is the best topic to actually wrap up the Women's Month. You know, this topic, we're not limiting it to just this month, but I believe that it will kickstart conversations, you know, moving forward, especially on The Blueprint. We're talking about women at work, navigating careers, leadership, and workplace realities. And I'm particularly excited about my guest today because this is not just a woman who's bringing a wealth of experience, but she's bringing insight from the heart of workplace dynamics. She is an HR professional with years of experience and accolades under her belt. You know, whenever I have conversations with her, I always wonder, do you ever stop learning? Do you ever stop trying to get this or that certification? You're just constantly trying to reinvent yourself in different ways, which is absolutely inspiring. She is the head of HR in the most, I would say, the most remarkable media organization in the world, if I do say so myself. She's the head of HR in Megalectrics Ltd. Her name is Mrs. Chidinma Obiejesi. Good evening, ma, and welcome to The Blueprint.
Thank you very much, Ife. It's a pleasure to be here today. And yes, the most remarkable media.
There you go.
Right on point.
I love that. I love that. How has the Women's Month been for you so far?
For me, it's been exciting. A month to celebrate women. Starting from our organization where we had the hangout with the MD,
absolutely,
hangout for the ladies, games hangout for the ladies, and then the institute itself that organized a session, a webinar for women, and then I had this personal team together, a platform called HR Women Connect.
Oh, nice!
And there too, we had last week Saturday. There was an event for women.
That's brilliant.
Give sponsorship and gain legacy. It was quite exciting.
I love that.
And there was a lot to learn. A lot of women logged in and they learned a lot. Quite exciting.
I love that. You know, I love that we're not just talking the talk, we're walking the talk, even as an organization as well. Yeah. And just even speaking about that, I want us to just take a step back for a moment. I want you to, because you have been in this industry for years, so you have a wealth of experience across board. I want you to tell us from your perspective, how has the role of women evolved over the years in the workplace?
I will assure you that the role of women in the workplace has evolved severally. We have moved from the point where women are seen as only for administrative and supportive roles.
Oh, yes.
To the point where they are beginning to have leadership position. I mean, begin to head organizations, begin to sit as chairman of the board. So initially it was the entry level. We were counting how many women are being given the opportunity to gain employment in several roles and several strategic roles. And then we have moved to the level where how many women are promoted in an organization to management, middle management level. But now the focus is on inclusive governance.
Okay.
So yes, people are beginning to look at How many women are sitting on the board?
Yes.
How many are in your senior leadership team? So taking strategic decisions, strategic business division, and driving those decisions. So that's the focus now. So we have really evolved.
We've evolved way past. Are we hiring women in this organization or not? It's now women in leadership positions.
Nobody talks about hiring women anymore.
Exactly.
What we're not talking about is how many women are sitting on. But then you can see a number of them in the banks,
of course,
in oil firms,
exactly,
in institutions. Several women are beginning to take the lead.
I agree, because just the other day I was having a conversation with someone. I was like, oh my goodness, have you noticed that a lot of women are now rising into positions of like chairman of banks?
Exactly.
Which is MD of banks, chairman of banks, which is phenomenal. What a time to be alive, because that is absolutely inspiring.
Exactly. And that's where we are now.
I love that. And I want you to tell us, how are women showing up today in comparison with years ago, right? And with the evolution of their role in the roles in the workplace. Is there a difference between the way women showed up in the past and how they're showing up today?
No, women are beginning to own their own space. There's definitely a difference. In the past, women seem to think that they are not supposed to be assertive. When you are assertive, you are labeled as being hard. But now, and some of them who try to show up, some women they try to like fit into the male role. They try to put themselves in the personality of the man, because they believe that, a man will behave like this, so they want to be seen that way. But with the upspring of emotional intelligence and empathy as key criteria, as key skills for leadership, women are beginning to occupy this space in their own full self.
I love that.
That is, now they know that if you require emotional intelligence to lead, who has that better than a woman? If you require empathy to lead, where do you get that from? If not mostly from women. So now we don't show up now feeling, we need to be like.
Yes.
We show up feeling we are ourselves. I'm a woman, proudly so. Absolutely. And I occupy this space exactly as I am, a woman, because you come better as a woman and we lead better.
I love that so much. And I want us to unpack this for a second, because yes, what you've highlighted is something that we've seen over the years, where women, especially as they are rising through the ranks, they feel, and this may not even necessarily be because they just had they're overthinking things, but the environment in which probably they worked within, exactly the pressure, made them believe that they needed to embody a certain level of masculinity so that they're either respected, listened to, or thought to fit the part better. But like you've mentioned, things have switched. But I want us to talk about that. What was that turning point that went beyond having or expecting a certain level of masculinity within a role to now things like EQ, like emotional intelligence and empathy? What was the switch? Where did that happen?
Apart from the fact that at a particular time in history, the corporate world and generally the world realized that organizations headed by women seem to progress. You would also realize that immediately after COVID, what meant the reason why people work changed. What is meaningful to individuals who come to the workplace become different. You would also notice that within that period, organizations or even economies and companies led by women seem to thrive better within that period. And like I said earlier, that came with the realization that you need a lot of empathy. You need a bit of softness to also lead. It doesn't have to be hard. So whilst there's this part of the masculine side, the part that represents the women also stands out and seem to create a better environment.
Yes.
Exactly. Create a better atmosphere for driving productivity, for enabling people to excel. So I think it's at that point that it begins to shift. And then women suddenly realize that okay, I can do it as much as the man can. And I'm not inferior because I'm a woman.
Exactly.
So I don't have to be the man to excel on my role. So with that, things begin to shift.
I love that. And how have we been able to also instill that confidence in women for them to know and to believe that indeed you no longer have to act masculine. You can now fully embody who you are as woman, but still excel in that role. Because sometimes when you go to corporate, for instance, there are people who have had it ingrained in them because maybe they've grown from entry level to whatever position they are in, and they've seen what worked and what didn't, and maybe their madams that were ahead of them would always act like masculine and be just display these traits. So now that things have shifted, how have we been able to let the women know it's okay for you to be fully woman but also still excel? It's okay for you not to be masculine. It's okay for you to display emotional intelligence and empathy and still excel. How have we been able to communicate that to the women?
Well, like we said, we are learning every day. We have looked at the data, what has worked so far and what hasn't worked. We have also looked at the environment. How is it evolving so far? How are people beginning to receive you as a woman? And as such, women are also becoming conscious of themselves, becoming conscious of their environment, becoming conscious of the fact that if you check, this is a month where we celebrate women, and you see a lot of talks on these things.
Of course.
You see a lot of confidence built into the girl child.
Yes.
I think sometimes some of these things also have a tie to our culture and our background, where even from the home, the girl is meant to feel, oh, it's the man that would work. You just prepare yourself and get married. In some parts of the country, then you will find out that even some girls are not being sent to school. But right now, all those have changed. Fathers are beginning to even will their properties to their daughters if that daughter is the one who can manage the organization better. So you don't feel that there is something wrong with you anymore because you're a woman. And we as women then learned that even by being a woman, all I need to do is to build my potential, to showcase my skills, and to ensure that I deliver on whatever task I'm given. And objective assessment, I get what I'm supposed to get.
I love
like you said, not tokenism.
Exactly.
But performance and result.
That's absolutely brilliant. Now, we've spoken about like a few of the progress that has been made so far. But I know that this journey, even as women within the workplace, it's not void of its challenges as well. So I want us to talk about that. With your wealth of experience, what do you still see is a constant challenge when it comes to women in the workplace?
Okay. Like I said, we have evolved and progress have been made. But despite this, you will still notice that the society still expects that the woman carry the burden of handling most of the domestic chores at home. So, and that is alongside her professional body. So that is one key issue. Okay, for instance, you talked about myself. You know, I'm very active in my professional body.
Yes.
And then sometimes, even in the workplace, you sit up in a meeting for several hours, and you're like, even at home, you still need to attend to the children. You still need to attend to the home. While for the male, our male counterparts, you find out that when they get home, it's easier to sit up and attend to whatever work you have not attended to, attend to meetings and all that. For the woman, it's a different ballgame entirely. At least sometimes the men are supportive, but you don't find that everywhere. That is one. Two is that women are still being rewarded for being communal. And when a woman is assertive, she is termed as being aggressive.
Yes.
But when a woman is communal, submissive, her voice is low, then this one she's rewarded for that. But that is also an issue, because when it's time to take decisions of leadership, that woman can also be overlooked because she's not assertive. The same people who reward her for being communal will then begin to punish her for being assertive. Oh, she's not assertive. So I don't think she can handle that role. That's the kind of comments you
Wow. And I like that you've steered us towards that, because then I want to ask, like, what would you say the limitation is? Is it more the system, or is it more women and how they show up? You know, if we're putting these things side by side, if we're juxtaposing the systems, because you did mention, you know, the society would be rewarding you because you are communal, right? And then they will punish you and they'll say, oh, she's not assertive, I don't really think, you know, she'll be able to handle this. So would you say it is the system versus how women show up themselves? Because, you know, if we take a look at the internal and the external could be the system that they're functioning within. The internal could be, you know, the confidence, how they show up, you know. What do you think if we're weighing both of them?
Well, I think sometimes it's the system more than how they show up. Because sometimes the system determine how the woman wants to react to issues or want to show up. So, for instance, we all know that sometimes conversations about career progressions and promotions, they do not happen in formal rooms. They happen in informal settings.
Like that. Yeah. That's so true, actually.
That's it.
Yes.
So you will see the guy would probably hang out with the boss, or be in an environment where the boss is playing tennis or hanging out and things like in the club.
Exactly.
And they could have those informal conversations, and it's like, okay, what's happening? But for the female, finding her in that kind of environment will be viewed as not proper.
Yes.
So those kind of conversations do not happen in formal rooms, and that's a limitation to the woman. And I mentioned one earlier where the woman is naturally expected to be communal, to be mild, but she is then punished because when it comes to taking decisions about leadership, the man is chosen because he's more assertive. Secondly, in building relationships, so sometimes women are limited. That limitation is placed. And I think another thing is that the male workers or the male employees or the male counterparts have more sponsorship in the room. We operate in a society where sometimes when you find, because there are more men out there, more men up there in the boardroom, where these conversations are had, so they sponsor themselves. There are fewer women you will find there, unless a man chooses to sponsor you. Then it's difficult. You don't have a sponsor, and where you do not have a sponsor is an issue. Really, that's a very key criteria, a very key driver for growing. So you must have a sponsor. And sometimes people are also very careful, because when a man begins to sponsor a woman and push to her, if you are not careful, they are labeled as having maybe one form of intimate relationship. So people become very careful unless they have reasons to be very confident. They don't do that. So that's also a limitation on the woman.
Wow, I mean, you have mentioned a lot of things that we can see are evident within the systems. And if we're addressing these things, okay, now let's even say this. For example, now, you had mentioned that a lot of these decisions are made in informal settings. We've seen it. Men strike deals anywhere. They're just like, yes, you have this. Okay, so they do that a lot of times. What is the advice to women? Like, how do we, because in that regard, there is a gap. Right, in that regard, how then do we augment? Like, how do we then make up for that gap in being able to either have access to those places or rooms where those decisions are being made, or leverage on what we have in common, which is being women, right? And being able to do those deals, maybe away from the clubhouses or whatever the case might be. How do we close that gap?
First, I will advise that as women, we should keep learning and building our skill. You need to hone your skill. Be competent. That is very key. Now, you know that when it comes to promotion discussion, men are promoted for their potentials. Women are promoted for results, which is a bias already.
Absolutely.
So for women, then it is advised that you try and get that result. Make sure that, and you speak up. Visibility is it's not to be visible. You need to blow your own trumpet.
I love that.
You need to carry stakeholders along. It's not just your line head that should know what you are doing. Speak up and carry everybody along on milestones. Don't wait for results. Get advisors, get sponsors, and get a peer coach. Now, advisors, that's mentors.
Okay.
Mentors will guide you.
Okay.
Sponsors will speak up for you in the room. And then peer coach would be there to share your hard times, share your opinion, and things like that. So,
wow. So mentors will guide you, sponsors will speak up for you, and your peer coach would be there to share the hard times, the highs, the lows.
And things like that.
These are very key things that I would definitely put in my back pocket, because it's absolutely important. You know, I feel like in the workplace or in corporate, there is a formula to it, whether we like it or not. Maybe when we look, when we take a step back, we're able to now piece things together and say, okay, you know, if you do A and B, you could get this result.
Yes.
I like that we are able to, you know, vocalize it, and we're able to identify these things. And now, so for women who are wondering, how do I get a sponsor? Right? Because, you know, over the years, we spoke a whole lot about mentorship. I was never really a believer of mentorship. I just always believed that I just felt like, okay, if I got a mentor, like what would the dynamic be like? It just was always interesting when I thought about it.
Yeah.
Until I grew to see the need, the reason, and even I benefited from it. You know, it may not have started with me actually having a one-on-one mentor, but I've had like women who've mentored me in one way or the other in conversations that we've had, for instance, you know, that has existed. Now, sponsorship, which is someone that will speak up for you in ways that you probably don't have access to yet. How do we get that?
Well, I mentioned earlier that you need to be confident. I mean, when people know your potential, they definitely would have confidence to speak up for you. If they know you will deliver,
yes,
they will. So if you are competent, if you deliver on results, and then you build relationships, people aren't going to sponsor you if you don't have a relationship. So, and I learned something quite earlier in networking.
Okay.
When you network, do not look out for what this person will do for me. Look out for what you can do first, the value you add first.
I love that.
That is what I learned. So if you are already adding value, you are identified with adding value. I've had several people be my sponsor, even when I didn't ask them to. But I think that is as a result of the fact that they probably have some bit of confidence that, oh, this person, I have a relationship with her. Based on this relationship, I understand her. I know what she can do. I know her level of integrity. I know her level of competence. I know that she can deliver. Now, what we women should understand too is that performance is just the beginning. That is not the goal. That you meet your, you know, we're like, oh, my result will speak for me. Yes. It will definitely. But there is a step above that. After your performance, after that result, do you have relationship? Are you visible? Because if you are hidden in your corner and you are expecting that people will speak up for you, they probably don't even know what you're doing or your potentials. So you need to be visible, as in not just volunteer, show up, show that you can do this, be willing to do it and participate. So people get to see what you're doing. You know, for instance, I came into leadership roles, not just in the workplace, but even in the professional environment, because there was a need to fill a leadership gap. I wasn't sure I could do it.
Wow.
But someone said you can do it.
Yes.
I got in there. Well, I just did my best. What I think was my best. It showed up. People were like, oh, so you could do this. And And from there, people then begin to realize that this person has potential.
Exactly.
This person has integrity. This person is competent, and they can then begin to speak up for you even when you are not there. Oh, what about this person? That is what usually happens. And then I also notice that for we women, sometimes when we look at some senior positions, we really don't apply because we don't throw our hearts in the ring because we think that we don't have all it requires.
Exactly.
But men don't do that. Even
it's so interesting how they don't.
even when they know they are not qualified for it, they'll still show up. They'll still attend the interview. They'll still answer questions. Sometimes they get themselves in there.
Interesting.
So we don't have to have 100%. 60%, 70% is enough. And sometimes you may have other skills that isn't listed, so that will make up for the 30% or 70% that you earlier thought you didn't have.
Wow, this conversation is so loaded, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna take it one at a time. You had mentioned that performance is the basic level. That's the base level. Beyond performance, the relationships. And when you're seeking out relationships, rather than seeking out what people will do for you, seek out of identify what value you're bringing. People will embrace and are more welcoming to people who bring value. Exactly. Nobody wants to feel like you're coming to take. You know, that just already affects the dynamic of the relationship from the beginning. Yeah. And I also love that you've mentioned that your milestones, you should be assertive about your milestones, because you had said you don't have to wait for the results. Results very important, right? Speak about your results, but also carry people along with the milestones. You should be able to identify, okay, we are on the journey to achieve X, but we've moved from A to F. Identify that. Show people, vocalize that, assert that.
That is what recognizing that you have been able to make some progress.
Exactly.
If you eventually get to the X, it will be a joint success because you carry people along. So they were following through. Oh, she's done this. Oh, this has been done. Oh, we are not there yet, but we are getting there. We'll get there. So when we eventually get there, we'll all celebrate rather than run alone and quietly.
Exactly.
And sometimes people would not know the small achievements you've been able to garner before you get to that point.
That's absolutely brilliant. It's 28 minutes past 5. Listen, this conversation is so loaded, and I'm advising you beforehand. We're going to post this up on YouTube. Go rewatch it, because I believe that this could be a playbook for you as you are making your way to the top as a woman within corporate Nigeria. There is a method to it. There's a formula to it. And we have one of the best in the industry, the head of HR for Megalectrics Ltd. And she is sharing all this insight. Now, just speaking about, because I love the fact that you said, make sure that you're constantly like upskilling, developing yourself as a woman. How your performance and your competence, very important. However, how do we move from competence to leadership material? Because there's so many women that are competent. There are women that can do the work. But how do we move from that to leadership material? Because people believe that is a completely different ball game. There's something extra. It looks different. It sounds different. How do we move?
Well, one thing is that for such leadership positions, look out for skills that are considered. Strategic thinking, assertiveness, emotional intelligence, and resilience. Those are skills that will be considered when looking for materials for leadership. And please, let's not wait. You can seek out for such opportunities and speak up. Have a conversations about your performance. Have conversations with your team lead, with whoever is responsible for evaluating you. Don't wait until it's appraisal time. Would you seek feedback? Would you have check-in conversation? Oh, how am I doing? And express yourself if you desire higher opportunities. Some of us do that a lot, you know. When there are opportunities, the men are lobbying for it. Going out to say, boss, I would like to be there. I can do it even when you don't think they can do it.
Exactly.
And all that. But as women, we sit back and expect that, oh, I mean, my result is there. I'm sure that when they review, they should come to me. They should tell me. We don't need to wait. Like I said earlier, blow your trumpet. Speak up.
Wow.
Show up. Go have that conversation. Throw your hat in the ring even before you are invited to. Show that you can do it. And then another thing is, if one also volunteers for higher position, a situation where there is opportunity to provide cover for a higher position or handle project at that level. When you do that, the tendency is that the decision makers are there, and when they sit in the room to take that decision, oh, if she could have done this, then she can do this. But if we sit to be invited to the table every time, if we sit to be called upon, nobody really get to know what you can do, the skills you possess. I mean, if he looking at you, it's not automatic that I'll know that, oh, if he can do X, Y, Z.
Yes.
But when if he shows up and say, madam, I know that there is vacancy here. I would like to be part of that project team. I would like to lead this project. Or can we do so? I would like to drive this project. I may say, okay, are you sure you want to do that? Let's see. She does it and people are sitting on the side wondering, wow,
exactly.
I didn't know if he is that skilled. I didn't know if he's, can you see the way she was leading her team and things like that? It's then easy for someone to say, oh, I saw Ify, the way she handled that. I think this woman can do this. I think this lady can handle this.
Yeah.
So if we desire to move up, we must show up, we must speak up, we must also be seen to be acting at that level. Our presence should be seen to be at that level. And I talked earlier of strategic thinking.
Yes, strategic thinking.
So if you are in the room driving projects, in meetings, and the way you think, the way the ideas you bring out seem to address that area, it will be easy for people to look at you. I also talked about emotional intelligence.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to promote anybody who is going to break down or blow up at any time. They expect that emotionally you are aware of yourself, you can manage yourself, and so you can manage others. And then resilience, that talked about ability to be strong enough to adapt to changes.
What are some of those unwritten things that you need women to be aware of whilst they are navigating, be it corporate or even running your own business?
Unwritten. Well, talking about the unwritten rules, I've mentioned some of them earlier when we were speaking. I mentioned that performance is just the starting point. It's not the goal. When you perform, your performance is just the basic. There are additional things required. There are certain skills. People are looking out for your ability to relate, your presence, your relationship, and others. Unwritten rules. I also mentioned that sometimes the conversation, those who take the decision don't do that in a formal place.
Exactly.
They do that in an informal setup. And if you get a sponsor, your sponsor will speak for you there. Unwritten. There are written rules that also involves when you reduce your focus on I and focus more on impact. How you impacting on the organizations. When you also speak and you make it a team thing, giving accolades to your team, even in your own personal business.
Exactly.
Whether professional, whether informal, when you give accolades to team members, you are seen as a leader. People tend to want to relate with you more because you encourage them to grow, you recognize their efforts, right? So severally, we women miss it a lot. And showing up, and unwritten rules you mentioned. I was saying last time that self-advocacy is a skill. It's not an ego trip. Oh, I don't want to speak. Oh, I don't want to. Say what you've done. Say how you have impacted on the organization. It helps for people to
absolutely.
But unlike the men were, I was the one that delivered that, but we are conservative. Oh, you don't want people to see you as boasting,
egocentric.
Because egocentric. She's always saying she's the one that did it. Yes, I led my team. We did it
exactly, and the results speak for it as well.
And the results speak for it.
Yeah.
So you speak out, you show up, you highlight your achievements. Self-advocacy. Tell them what you can do and what you have achieved and who you are and how much you can occupy the position.
I love that.
Yeah.
And not just speaking about, maybe people and culture or the human resource environment. What would you say that human resource practitioners should ensure that they are doing within their organizations to ensure that women are thriving?
Okay. In addition to the other point, before I go into this, you see also in discussing our performance, we should having that conversation for promotion. It is always better when we couch it around what we will do in our new role or how our new role will impact on the organization, rather than just, I have this skill, I've worked here for so long and I've delivered. What will I do in occupy this role? How would it impact on the organization? In doing this business with you, what value am I going to bring to you?
Absolutely. To
your business or to the organization or to you as a person in that relationship. Having said that, for HR professionals, you see, while speaking to some of the women at the event we had on Saturday, I said something that it is peculiar. It's a peculiar gathering because when you reach one HR person, you reach 200 women. Because each of them manage organizations that have several women as their employees. Now, talking about that, we need to couch policies, structured supports, flexible work, for instance. Let's not make caregiving seem like a crime. It's standard. Everybody can give care. I mean that I have to, as a woman, I have to care for my children. I have to care for relatives. It's not out of place. If we begin to make it look like it's abnormal or it's a kind of disadvantage, it's a challenge. The men themselves don't bother to do that. They leave it to the women, and then the women get to do that, and then they get punished for it. They get overlooked for it. She's a woman. Why promote her when very soon she's going to come back to say, her baby is crying, or come back to say she's pregnant, she needs to care for this, she needs to care for that. So as HR professionals, we must create structural support that gives room for flexible work, that gives room to support the woman to grow, that also gives room to help the women find mentors and sponsors within the organization. We recognize that women have their own peculiar tendency, but that doesn't stop them from performing, and it's not a crime. We don't put them in the same bucket with, because the man is not taking permissions.
Exactly.
Why should the woman do that? We need to ensure that. Then we create an environment where everybody can strive. Not just the men, but also the women. As HR professionals, it's key that we begin to also create awareness, create a kind of educate, let me put it that way, educate the leadership of an organization, so they also begin to understand that we need the woman in the workplace. We don't just need the woman to be there, but we need the women to strive, because a woman thriving in the workplace ensures that several families also work well.
That's absolutely brilliant. Now, just even speaking about women and even in their families as well, is there any such thing as work-life balance for a woman?
Okay, when you talk about work-life balance, you say it as if like we need to have work 50, life 50. I don't think it works like that, and I don't think it will ever work like that. I think these days what we talk about is work-life integration. So, and then we set boundaries. Just know that there are times where we need to say no, and there are times when we need to say yes. And we also see how we can build the family around the work. And when I say that, I mean that, for instance, sometimes you have board meeting to attend, you have events to attend, and the family need to be attended.
Exactly.
You carry them along.
Oh my goodness.
So it's either the spouse is there managing the children, or they come with you. Let's attend the event, and you are able to do two things: be there for them as well as attend
that work.
I have a personal experience about that. You always see my daughter. Some call her my sister.
She has even been on the dish a few times, actually.
So that is just me trying to marry work.
I love that
family, because you see, they are in school, and sometimes you need to spend time, but you also need to attend to professional responsibilities. So rather than make one part feel abandoned, you just bring that. And it's a lot of fun when they're there, at least for the family, when they're there and you're doing the work.
Absolutely. All right, thank you so much, Mrs. Chidinma. We're going to be wrapping this up shortly, but before we do so, in just wrapping up this conversation, what is that mindset shift that you think every woman should have as they seek to grow professionally? Is there a mindset shift, and what does that look like?
I will quote what someone said at an event I attended. It's okay to be bold. It's okay to talk. It's okay to come in your full self as a woman and no more shrinking.
Oh, wow.
What that means is, you see, we, by our environment, the culture, everything, the systems, we are taught that the woman should, a woman is not supposed to go into politics. A woman is not supposed to be at this point. A woman is not supposed to, we are supposed to be, not to be heard and not seen. But that should change. A woman is a human being, has full potential that the world, the family, the workplace needs to grow. And we should come out and show forth. We should show up, stand up. We should be bold. We should speak out, and we should stop shrinking. There is no need, because shrinking may look cheap, but in the long run, it's actually expensive. It costs you so much. I mentioned speaking up. I've mentioned having conversation. But you see, if you do not, those who have that conversation will take the position.
Yep.
You didn't talk.
I agree 100%.
You didn't ask. You didn't say you wanted to. So how would I know you wanted to?
Exactly.
Or you could do it.
Exactly.
So those who come up and say, we can do this. We are ready for this. I don't mind being here. They will get all the positions. And maybe the person that is not talking, you are still there waiting for someone to notice you.
Sadly.
And then the mindset shift. A lot of people say something, actually. They say that women don't support women. I disagree with that. That's not
disagree.
Someone's there's a response given by someone recently, and that's what I'll quote, and that resonated well with me. The truth is that because fewer women are up there,
exactly,
the system have not created enough space for women.
Yes. It
then becomes a situation where some women find it difficult to sponsor others because they are struggling to occupy the space themselves.
Exactly, because the spaces are still limited.
Very limited. If we have enough, so let's all create spaces. And if you're a woman out there, sponsor a woman. Create space for a woman. Support a woman to grow. And for the men too, support the woman to grow. If there are enough spaces out there, the women will not be juggling for the few that are left. They will be willing to pull each other up, support each other, and sponsor each other to grow.
Wow, I believe that is just the right way to wrap up the show. Such a brilliant conversation, Mrs. Chidinma. And I would say that this is a woman that not only talks the talk, she walks the talk, because it is under her leadership as well that I became the programs director right here in Lagos Talks when I was the programs director. So thank you for creating an environment for women to thrive as well. Thank you so much.
You didn't fail us.
Thank you. I think because I had support from you. Remember, like I said, right, like from the conversations that we've had, maybe if there's any issue, I'm like, okay, this is, and you're like, you're calm, and you're like, okay, how about you do it this way? How about you do it that way? We need more of that.
Yeah.
We need more of that in environments across industries. So just imagine if we have more of that across industries, women will be growing through the ranks, and there will not even be a conversation about, does she qualify for this leadership position, because she has people like you in that environment as well. And so for that, I say thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the head of HR, Megalectrics Ltd, Mrs. Chidinma Obiejesi. Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out time to have conversations with me. And hopefully in the nearest future, we would have more, because we need to talk more about these sorts of topics.
It will be a pleasure to be here anytime. Share ideas, share thoughts. And thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Making me an OAP today.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of the Blueprint. What a beautiful way to wrap up Women's Month. It is the 31st of March, and this is the last day of the International Women's Month. But the conversations about women thriving and being empowered does not end here. It continues. My name is Ifnaya. Exactly. My name is Ifnaya. Such a pleasure to be here. Don't forget, the Blueprint comes on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Make it a date with us. You can reach out to me on Instagram and on TikTok at Ify_I. That is IFY_I. Madam Chidi, I don't know if you want to share any of your social media platforms. If you're social, or if you want to, but if not, we understand the privacy as well. So do you no
yeah. No, it's okay. It's Chidinma Obiejesi on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram.